It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Guys, let's bring in Professor Alan Dershowitz, who joins us. Professor Dershowitz, this is an enormous win for President Trump and also, as Judge Weinberg says, for all presidents. Your reaction?
No, I think that's right. And these senators and congressmen who are complaining forget to tell the public that they have immunity under the Constitution. And judges have immunity under the Constitution. In fact, there's nothing in the Constitution that gives judges immunity. They just created it for themselves. It would be unthinkable for the third branch of government, the executive branch, to have no immunity when the other two branches do have immunity. This was a constitutionally solid decision, a very narrow decision. It's not completely clear to me that it will mean that Trump can't be tried on some charges, because there are some things in the indictment that his lawyer conceded were personal rather than governmental. And so we may have a trial, but it would be a much narrower trial. But this is not about Donald Trump. This is about the presidency of the United States. Just like when I defended President Trump against impeachment, I wasn't defending the individual. I was defending the presidency against unconstitutional impeachments that weren't based on treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Likewise here, it's the right decision to say there is some immunity. I predicted it exactly in my book, Get Trump. I predicted the 6-3 vote. I predicted that they would remand it back to the district court. I remanded they would say there's some immunity, but not total immunity. And so I think most academics, most scholars predicted this result. Certainly after the oral argument, they predicted it.
What do you make of Professor Alan Dershowitz? Senator Richard Blumenthal, as we were all just talking about here in the studio, came out. I couldn't believe this, with almost like minutes after this decision came down. And I'm going to read you a direct quote. It says that the members of the court's conservative majority will now be rightly perceived by the American people as extreme and nakedly partisan hacks. That's shocking.
This is a man, by the way, Alan, who's the Attorney General of his state.
Well, not only that, but he's the Attorney General of the state of Connecticut, and the Bar Association of Connecticut recently issued a letter saying that all lawyers in Connecticut have to support and defend the judges. They were focusing on Judge Marchant because the Bar Association in Connecticut is very biased, against Trump and in favor of the Democrats. But under their ruling, under the Bar Association's letter, they should be reprimanding Senator Blumenthal as a Connecticut lawyer for calling the Supreme Court a bunch of hacks. They have said in their letter that you can't do that, and that, the threat was possibly disciplinary proceedings. But the Bar Association will not do anything because they are also biased and one-sided.
Yeah, it is amazing. And AOC, I'm going to read you what she just put out. She said, I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return. She's calling for the impeachment of the Supreme Court, Professor.
Right. On grounds of what? Treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Nobody should take it all seriously, what AOC says about anything. And I have to tell you that it's appalling to me that President Biden said about AOC, I've learned that you have to listen to that lady. No, you don't listen to AOC. Her ideas are not worthy of being listened to, and that was proved just this afternoon.
You know this, Alan. The progressives are the most open-minded people in the world until you don't agree with them.
Yeah,
the minute you don't agree with them, they'll take away your right to free speech.
No, there's no question. That's right. And the only thing I worry about with Biden possibly dropping out of the race is that the progressives will try to nominate one of their own to become the Democratic nominee for president, and that would be a disaster for the country. But it could happen, and so be careful what you wish for. The devil you know may be better than the devil you don't know. So I'm for one not particularly rooting for a change in the candidate of the Democratic Party, because I fear the Democratic Party will be taken over by the radical left-wing anti-Semitic elements of the Democratic Party of the squad, and that could happen. And this decision and the reaction to this decision certainly suggests that.
Yeah, it is stunning to see how fast, if they don't like the decision, they now go after the Supreme Court. And there were all these rumors where they wanted to pack the court. Professor, let me bring in, we have John Katzimatidis who's calling in from San Diego. John, go ahead.
Well, I've been enjoying listening to this, and I agree with the professor 100%. And I just want to, what is the thinking of the three justices that voted against this amendment? What do you think, Professor? What's their thinking?
I think they're very result-oriented. You say people don't like the decision. They don't even read the decision. They don't like the result. They don't like the fact that it might help Trump. I got bunches of letters today from my liberal friends who hadn't read the decision, just saying, oh, my God, how can you justify any decision that helps Trump? And that's the way it's judged. That's the way Blumenthal and Schumer and AOC analyze the case. It doesn't matter what the logic is, what the Constitution says. If it helps Trump, it's wrong. If it hurts Trump, it's right. It's as simple as that. That's what's happened to American law. And it's headed by academics like Professor Lawrence Tribe, who always evaluates decisions by whether they hurt or help the Democratic Party.
Professor Alan Dershowitz, I want to also ask you another big thing that has just happened in the last little bit. The House Judiciary Committee is now really going full throttle to get the release of the Robert Hur audio. Just to remind everybody, he's, of course, the special counsel who interviewed President Biden and determined he was an elderly, well-meaning old man who couldn't be prosecuted. They only handed over the transcript. Now, after the debate, of course, everyone's saying...
We now agree with him.
Yeah, we agree with him, right, Tony? You're right. Don't you think there should be an effort? Is there any reason why you could see why Garland and the DOJ are withholding that audio? The American public should hear it.
Of course. Transparency is the essence of democracy, and we are voting for a president, and we have to hear everything, every piece of evidence there is. I don't know whether it will affect my views at all. After the debate, the testimony may not surprise anybody, but there's no reason for withholding it. What's the argument for withholding it?
Yeah. Alan, there's no basis at all to withhold it. They've already released the transcript, so why, under what claim of executive privilege?
Their argument is they're not even making that kind of an argument. Their argument is the only reason the Republicans want it is they want to use it in an ad. Yeah, that's right. And you're entitled to use it in an ad, and you're entitled to use it for political purposes because that's what a campaign is about.
We have an hour and a half debate we can now use as an ad. I think we're done. Drop the mic. We're good. We're good.
Wow, lots of stuff. Well, Professor Alan Dershowitz, thank you so much for joining us on such a big night. Thank you very, very much.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.